Hey, welcome to the Dripping Stone Podcast, the podcast where two friends raise a glass and have a conversation. I'm Nick.
I am Kyle.
You are Kyle.
I am today.
How's it going?
I've kind of settled into it.
Yeah, the day or like being Kyle?
Just being Kyle. It's took a good number of years to find that sweet spot of being Kyle. I think I'm there.
It started one rainy night in 1983. And then here we are.
Skip a few decades and here we are.
Here we are. Kyle, today we're drinking something.
You know it.
That's how every episode starts.
Generally starts. Yeah, usually.
Is there any episode we've done so far where we haven't started?
I think there have been a couple of episodes where we introduced the topic.
Yeah.
Because it related to the drink.
Okay.
But we always start with a drink.
Sure. And that's kind of like what we're known for.
Yeah.
We start with a drink.
Yeah.
Just chatting.
It's the format.
Talk about the drink a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we talk about whatever's on our mind.
Indeed.
And you've already read the title for this episode. So what's on our mind is Marvel.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff just came out and was released.
A lot of news.
In terms of news, exactly.
Yeah, a lot of excitement.
Okay. So before we get into that exciting news.
Yep.
You want a drink?
You know it.
Okay, so I've got a bottle for us here. This is the Riverset Rum, finished in rye casks.
Ooh.
Yeah. This is by our friends at the BR Distilling Company.
Interesting.
You know those guys.
You know it?
Yeah, they're the ones who do the Blue Note.
Is it really?
It is.
Same distillery?
Same distillery, same distilling company. I don't know if this is actually distilled in Tennessee. Actually, I know it's not. This is a product of Venezuela.
Oh.
But it is aged. Yeah.
Aged
it is
in bottles.
Aged in rye barrels.
Very interesting.
It is bottled, right. It is bottled by the BR Distilling Company. It's a pretty bottle. Look,
Dude,
I mean, it's basically the same bottle. It's behind you.
I was going to say the perfect tasting to this to compare is the Rye 3. A rye aged in rum barrels. This is a rum aged in rye barrels.
Yeah, it might not be a bad idea.
That's kind of interesting.
Do we still have
They're
the
probably
rye
like a similar proof.
Do we still have some of that rye 3 laying
I've
around?
got the same clothes on.
Well, yeah, but these episodes are released the other way around. This one's coming out first.
Oh,
well, I didn't tell you
look
that.
forward to the Rye 3 competition.
Right, we recorded it backwards, but this one's coming out before the other one.
Well, what do you know?
Yeah, well, I mean,
you know a lot. I
some
know
days.
nothing about
That's
this
not
stuff.
True. Kyle, this is our first rum on the podcast.
I think you're right.
I think we decided that
again. Fits the aesthetic.
Prior to it does the rum runner aesthetic.
Yeah, I've got a very floral Hawaiian-esque
Yeah,
shirt on. I felt like we're starting to hit the end of the summer,
right? At least here in Florida, sure.
Yeah,
sure.
So go all out.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and end on a rum
for sure. Our viewers on YouTube will see your beautiful shirt.
The tubes of you.
I see it right now.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
It's loud.
Yeah, but it's not. I don't know. It's not.
I
as
like
loud.
that confusion is literally what I'm going for. Yeah. That's the aesthetic, man.
It's not
people to look at it and be like, "Whoa!"
But it's not. It's not like when I think loud. When I think of a loud shirt, I think of like neon orange and green.
Yeah,
like those are loud, or like a shirt that's too busy. There's some bottle words here.
Okay.
This is actually a single barrel, by the way.
Ooh.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
No rum did that.
This is number 15006.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is barrel number 15006.
Yeah.
This clocks in. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Hold on to your seat.
Yeah.
You're not holding on to your seat. There it goes. No, not that seat. The other one. That one. There it is. 131.3.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not just a rum. It's a high proof rum.
I've definitely never had rum that high proof. That'll be interesting.
Well, guess what, buddy? We're going to do it. You want to hear some bottle words?
Kick it.
The Mississippi River was the main artery of North American spirits distribution. Feel good so far?
Totally.
Whiskey was shipped downriver from Memphis, and rum was shipped upriver from New Orleans. With Riverset Rum, we have combined the profiles of these two spirits by finishing imported Caribbean rum in our Riverset Rye whiskey cask, allowing the vanilla and spice notes from the whiskey to mellow the rum's inherent sweetness, adding depth and complexity. Bottled at cask strength, Riverset Rum is designed for the experienced drinker. I think we qualify. Who appreciates high-proof spirits. I think we qualify. Riverset Rum is not for the faint of heart. Go against the current and push limits with us. There's always more room aboard this ship.
Cool.
Cheers.
Cheers, buddy.
So they're taking their Riverset Rye, which the Blue Note is BR Distilling. Riverset Rye is their rye line, and that's what they're aging this rum in.
Interesting. So they're sourcing it, you think, from Venezuela and then aging it in their own ex-bourbon casks.
Ex-rye casks.
Ex-rye casks.
So I don't know what makes
interesting. I wonder if Blue Note does a rye.
No, it's Riverset Rye.
Oh, it's Riverset Rye.
It's BR
That's
Distilling,
right. I've
but
seen
it's
Riverset
Rye.
bourbons and ryes.
Correct.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
I don't know what separates a Venezuelan rum from a Martinique rum from a,
Caribbean.
Yeah. Well, I think they're all sort of Caribbean, but I don't know what the differences in rum are.
Right.
But I'm interested.
Me too.
Yeah. You ready to crack into it?
You know it.
Okay.
That's a good pop. A little dribble on the face.
A little drivel. It is a synthetic cork.
Yep. I think Blue Notes are too.
Hey,
Delicious. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. There's one for me.
Those deep glugs.
I just realized how much I poured in that glass.
Yeah, it's good pour.
You didn't seem confident.
Good pour.
If I put this on the side.
I think you did it right. I think it's right to the bowl.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think you did it just right.
Wow.
They're not as hefty as you might have thought.
For those of you not on YouTube, what we've done is we've taken our Glencairns, we've pushed it on its side, and just enough to get the liquid up to the very rim of the glass. If you are on YouTube, isn't that sexy?
Do you know you could do that?
You can.
Yeah, you can.
You just gotta pour it
if you do it right.
Yeah, you gotta pour it well. Which thank you for complimenting my pour.
I was gonna say, like, I mean, you keep talking about the heftiness.
Yeah, no, it's about right.
Hit it right on the nose.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So what do you got on color?
Just in terms of brown liquor, I want to say it's on the lighter side.
Straw. In the
heavy straw.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, in the glass itself or in the bottle itself, it seems darker in the bottle,
right?
But it could just be like what we have it up against here on the in the whiskey cave,
right?
But when you get in the glass, and you hold it up to the studio lights here, man. Like, yeah, it's heavy straw. I like that heavy straw.
Yeah,
it's like water that's soaked straw water for a while.
Yeah, it's been in there for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, you okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You good?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just checking.
It got weird.
It just got weird. I don't know. You gave me a weird look. Like,
no way, dude.
Yeah. Okay. What do you got on the nose?
I got to be honest. Like, if you would have said that this is a rum, or actually, I guess let me put it this way: if you'd have just handed me the glass and said,
"Yep,
what you think?" I don't know that I would have necessarily immediately said, "Oh, that's rum."
Absolutely not. Nope.
Like, it's definitely got a rye characteristic to it. And almost like, I feel like the predominant note is caramel.
Well, when I think of rum, I think of like heavy sweet.
Yeah.
And
like that sugar cane sweet.
Yeah, exactly. Which that's what I want out of a rum in terms of like that's the flavor that I want, the flavor profile anyway. But out of this, it feels or it smells like a bourbon.
Yeah. I get more rye.
I was going to say, yeah, maybe rye whiskey.
But I don't know that I would necessarily just immediately go, oh, yeah, no, that's totally rum.
Yeah, if you threw this, like if you're doing like just nosing and you weren't tasting,
right?
I bet you like you wouldn't be able to say, oh, that's actually a rum.
Right.
And to be fair, like we're not super well versed in rums, but it just feels like a rye whiskey.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in comparison to that rye 3 that we've had, that we've featured, I really kind of want to nose those together to see how similar they really are.
Well, we got the bottle.
We do have that bottle.
You want to nose them together real quick?
Let's do it.
Okay. I mean,
it just makes sense.
We're talking
we're talking about science.
Go grab that bottle real quick. Lucky for you, not that we planned this, but I've got 2 extra Glencairns.
Real cork. That's pretty interesting.
All right. Okay, so go back to the nose real quick.
Yep.
It's soft around the edges. It's like a rye whiskey that's super soft around the edges. I don't know if that's a sweet coming through, but it's just like friendly around the edges.
Indeed. And like for it to be as high proof as it is, it doesn't smell like super stringent.
No.
Like it's pretty easily nosed.
Again, I feel like you could give this to, an average whiskey drinker and say, hey, here's a rye whiskey. And they'd say, yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, it's an interesting rye.
Something a little off about it or a little different about it. But like, yeah, no, it's rye.
And I mean, like, the proof is there, but like you said, it's not like, holy crap, hold up, 131. It's like, a bit of proof there.
It doesn't make you tear up when you nose it.
Not at all.
Like usually those super high proofs, that first nose, you're like, kind of.
Yeah, no, this, not really. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful nose. I like it.
Man. All right, so now go to the rye 3.
Okay.
Rye 3, for everybody. It's a rye whiskey aged in rum. So it's the opposite of what Riverset is. The rye comes forward really strong here.
Totally.
And when you go back to the Riverset now, you're able to nose the rum better.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So weird. That's awesome. All right, I'm going in on the palate on the Riverset.
Damn.
Right? Wow.
I'm not a huge rum fan.
That's delicious.
But that's pretty damn delightful.
Yeah. Wow. It's really nice. Okay. Right off the bat, you get this really, really good earthy sweet. That's where the rum comes out for me, where hey, this is some rum. So you get that really nice, good earthy sweet, but then it's complemented by the proof. And that's where the proof spikes through. It's like, there's the proof.
Earthy sweet is such an interesting modifier. I guess is the best way to say it. But like, earthy sweet, because like I initially thought it's kind of almost mapley syrup. Which is also an earthy sweet.
Sure.
You know, like that, there is like, it's not an artificial sweet. It is more of a naturalistic.
Yeah.
That you can tell, like, this is a sweet that came naturally.
Well, I think
not
about
created.
Like what I mean by that is you think about like white sugar. It's a processed sugar, and it tastes different than like a demerara sugar.
Right.
Or like sugar in the raw. It tastes a little more earthy. It's a little more woody. It's a little less refined because, well, that's what it is.
Honey.
Exactly the same. Like I've had honeys before where you taste like the different, the terroir, if you will, of whatever flower or plant that those bees have been getting the pollen from.
Sure.
So to me, when you think about an earthy sweet, it's imparting the nature of the sugar cane far more readily than, again, like just a white sugar would.
Yeah. Totally. Man, where'd you find this?
This was at the same store that I've been getting a lot of these barrel selects from. And it's a single barrel, and that's where I got the Stellum. That's where I got the Blue Notes from them.
Right.
Their barrel picks are legit.
Yeah, no joke.
What do you think about the finish?
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
There's even like a rye-esque bitter on the end of it. Mm-hmm. But, I certainly wouldn't consider it to be like a strong bitter.
Right.
It's a very subtle bitter, but it's definitely there.
See, for me, on the back end is where it finishes like a rye. I get some of that like menthol-y note.
Sure.
It could be partially because of the proof, but that's where I get some of the piney, some of the little bit of the menthol, some like just whiffs of cinnamon. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely not forward throughout the entire sip. It's just on that back end.
My tongue is like legit reacting to it as if I just poured honey in my mouth. Like it's very sticky and clingy.
100%.
Very oily. But just stupid delightful, man.
It really is. Here's my thing. This is a rum for sipping.
Sure.
This is not, to me, not a mixing rum. In fact, like I made a drink with this. The proof is nice, but you don't get the nice, beautiful rum characteristics.
Right.
Because like when I think of a rum drink, I want that really heavy, earthy, dark, sorghum, syrupy, demerara sugar nature.
Sure. And like, for me personally, like I don't know that I've had a rum that I really considered like, let me sit back and think about this.
Right.
Because it is just which I could be completely naive about this because I don't really know a whole lot about rum.
Sure.
But I'm assuming that it's just sugarcane.
Yeah.
So it's just that one kind of
so.
note coming through. And generally my experience with rum is like, oh no, that tastes fantastic, but it's one note.
Right.
And so it's kind of...
Well, and I think that's where I'm going. Like when you think about a rum, it's rum mixed in fruit juices and things like that.
Sure.
So you're accentuating the nature of the sugar.
Right.
But you're also getting all these other things.
Right.
Whereas this, maybe it's because it's aged in those rye casks.
That's what I'm thinking.
You're getting a lot of interesting notes to think about.
There's some depth.
Right. Like, I don't think this would be as good if you just gave me the Venezuelan rum at 131.
I don't think so either.
Because it's going to be one note. But because of the rye casks,
it's making it very interesting.
Yeah. This is not something we normally do this early, but I'm going to run back to the rye 3 real quick and just kind of like nose and sip and just compare. Whoa. You're 100% right. Even on the palate, the rye 3 is accentuated in the rye, and the Riverset rum is accentuated in the rum, and they play off each other really well.
I know, man. I don't know if I've recently anyway, found a better pairing to have two things together that complement each other so well.
Yeah.
Like the Rye 3 pops the rye.
Yep.
Where you go back to the Riverset, and now that honey rum is accentuated, but they're so kind of comparable at the same time and have similar essences going on that they communicate with each other so well. Like,
And
that is
it's
beyond interesting.
It's also nice that they're, within 10 points, proof points of each other.
Right.
So give or take. So you get some of those, the notes that are accentuated on both ends.
The Rye 3 is a lower proof, but that spicy rye nature kicks a little extra.
Push it over the top.
That's
delightful.
That is fascinating.
Yeah.
Like, there may not be a better pairing that I can think of that we've done.
That's fantastic.
That's crazy cool.
So back real quick to the Riverset.
Yep.
I am really, really interested in this. I mean, like swirling in your glass, the legs are just so slow. Obviously the sugar content is very high here.
Right.
I find this fascinating.
Yeah.
Because first of all, as not a rum person,
Right.
this is really interesting to me of you have a rum that tastes like a whiskey, but also has the rum nature and is also at 131.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, this is definitely in that category of dessert.
Oh, for sure.
Finishing nightcap.
Yep.
Kind of beverage.
I feel like if you were to pair this with a deep Maduro cigar or something with a heavy smoke,
Yep.
this is going to cut right through that. That smoke's going to cut right through it, and you're going to have a really nice pairing there if you wanted to do that, after dinner drink cigar kind of thing.
I mean, 1,000%, sweetness level, it's a 10 out of 10.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
sweet. It is very desserty. Mm-hmm. And just because I don't genuinely like raisins all that much,
Right.
I would much rather hit this up than a cognac
You're not wrong.
any day.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, we haven't had a cognac at 130. A cognac at 130 could be a good spot.
130.
Well, this is 131, so I'm saying
okay.
if we had a high proof
I thought you said
cognac,
1:30 in the afternoon.
no,
I don't get it.
I'm saying and what I mean by that is
yeah.
okay, so
A
if you had
high-proof
a
cognac.
rum at 80, you're not going to feel the same way if you had a
1,000%. Yeah.
rum at 131. So
Agreed.
if we had a cognac at 131,
For sure.
maybe we'd sing a different tune.
Yeah. I need some more of this.
Do it. All right, Kyle. Now that we've got a great drink,
Indeed.
surprisingly so.
Good call.
More so than I would ever have thought.
Isn't that the most satisfying thing
Absolutely.
in what we do? Mm-hmm. In terms of all these bottles that we buy.
See, I just preemptively knew what you were going to say.
Yeah, for sure. We buy
I
these
agreed
bottles.
with you before. I knew what you were saying.
You knew where I was going.
I absolutely did.
To buy a bottle and find that thing to be interesting
Yep.
and
Yep.
satisfying.
This was a situation much like you had recently where I went in not expecting to buy a thing.
Right.
Dude behind the counter, a store I've come to respect.
Right.
A store that I absolutely respect their selections. Dude behind the counter was like, "Do you want to try our new blah, blah,
He
blah?"
had it. He had it for you to try.
Yeah, so poured me a little.
Would you have bought it
Absolutely
without
not.
that?
No.
Never, right?
No.
Yeah.
No. And then so I tried it. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's coming home."
Right.
Brought it home, had it when I got home, and I was like, "Yep,
Game changer.
decision, absolutely, good decision."
Yeah.
Yeah. And that the satisfaction, like you said, the satisfaction of that, of finding something new, finding something that's delicious.
Yep.
Man,
Can't beat that.
no.
That's the best. That's the best.
All right.
Absolutely.
So now that we have a good pour,
Yep.
we want to talk about this week.
It would be remiss of us to avoid the conversation of all of the Marvel
Shenanigans.
geekery,
Geekery.
nerdality that was released on us over the past weekend.
Yes.
Which, granted, whenever this comes out,
it's been about 2 weeks since
it's been a little while, but
yeah.
we got a lot
Yeah, we
of
did.
Marvel information, and let's just call a spade a spade.
Sure.
It's
a spade.
We're in that nerd culture,
Absolutely.
and we are here for it.
I'm here for it.
So we should talk about it.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
So Kevin Feige
Yep.
stood on stage.
At the San Diego Comic-Con.
He did as kind of his what they do.
They haven't done San Diego Comic-Con in a minute.
Oh, really?
It's been a few years.
I thought
because they've been focusing on the D23s.
Oh, that's right.
Which that's still coming up, and there's still plenty of things that they can hit at there.
Interesting. So this might not be, in terms of when we record, this might not be the full Phase 5 lineup.
I think it is the full Phase 5 lineup, but
Okay.
I'm sure that there are more trailers to come,
I
more
gotcha.
information.
I gotcha.
And, he went ahead and gave all the dates for Phase 6, but
Sure.
didn't list titles there. So
Right.
I'm sure there's
Okay.
other stuff they're going to say for D23.
So Kevin Feige stood on stage in front of a bunch of nerds
Yep.
and said, here's what we're doing.
The nerdiest of the nerds.
And laid it all out at San Diego Comic-Con.
Yep. Here's what's coming, Phase 5.
Right. So before we talk about Phase 5, what do we have that rounds out Phase 4?
So Phase 4 that we are...
And real quick, if you're not aware, Marvel goes in phases.
That's kind of what they've
Right.
decided to call their divisions of movies.
Correct. So Phase 4 started with Loki?
I think actually the first thing that came out technically in Phase 4 was WandaVision.
Okay. Yep.
I think originally that was different, but because of the pandemic and everything,
Sure.
they had to reorganize
It
some of
wasn't-
their release dates, and WandaVision ended up coming out first.
It wasn't the Spider-Man right after?
Spider-Man technically part of Phase 3.
Okay. So
technically.
that ends Phase 3. WandaVision kind of begins Phase 4.
Right.
Okay.
Which we've come to learn now that this next 3 phases of movies are
Right.
called the Multiverse Saga.
Correct.
The
Yeah,
first 3
that was
phases
cool.
were the Infinity Stone Saga, the
Right.
Infinity Saga.
The Infinity Saga.
And now we are into and working our way through the Multiverse Saga.
Yeah. Which so far, I mean, I'll go on record, and I've already said it multiple times. Like I go through phases of Marvel.
Sure.
We're like,
So
we're
does
like-
Marvel.
right? We're like, I'm in it, and then I'm like, I don't. Who's coming out with what now? Like, okay, fine, whatever. But I love this concept that they're playing with in terms of the multiple timelines, the multiverse as a whole. I really enjoyed Doctor Strange. It was a lot of fun. I love Loki. WandaVision is kind of a revelation in, to me, Marvel with Disney Plus and how they're working through that. And I've loved everything I've seen so far. So how are we rounding out Phase 4?
Phase 4 comes to a conclusion with the sequel to Black Panther.
Wow.
It's Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Which I saw the trailer for.
Yeah, let's talk about that trailer.
Sure.
All right, so that trailer, I can't think of a movie, especially within the realm, certainly within the realm of Marvel, but just within the realm of cinema,
Yeah.
that had to deal with a death of the major character.
The character.
Yeah,
Right.
your character, and I mean, it's widely known. Like Ryan Coogler, the director of both the first and this Black Panther movie, he wrote the movie. Black Panther 2 was ready to go as if there was nothing wrong with Chadwick Boseman.
Right.
And then the devastation of his death
Of losing him, yeah.
and having to completely change the direction of that film, and a character that had become so beloved
Yep.
and such an integral part of this huge movie franchise, to have to figure out, what am I going to do not only to honor that actor
Right.
and his impact, but to also now honor the character
And the story that I've created.
and the importance that
Exactly.
these characters hold for a huge population. Not just only all of us, but specifically for a certain culture. What a task
yeah.
to take on. But man, this trailer,
Yeah.
gosh, dude,
Goosebumps. I can see them.
it's,
Look at those.
it's
wow.
incredible.
It really,
it is
truly
such a
is.
beautiful, I put this on the other day from we were sitting on the couch, and I looked over at my daughter. I was like, have you seen the Black Panther trailer? She's like, I saw it came out, but I haven't watched it yet. And I put it on, and my mom, who has never seen probably a single Marvel movie ever, watches this trailer, and she's like, I want to go see that. She's like, that looks beautiful.
It does. It really, cinematically, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aesthetically, it's a beautiful trailer.
Yep.
The visuals that they're providing, of what you're seeing at the beginning of what is clearly going to be T'Challa's funeral procession. And like, I'll be honest, like I really hope that there's not a reason provided.
Yep.
I hope there's not a here's how he died thing.
Yeah.
I think we just start the movie with T'Challa has passed.
Yeah. And I don't know, like I
don't want to hear that it happened in battle or that there was an illness. Just let it be that he passed, and we have to deal with that and move forward together.
In terms of like respecting Chadwick Boseman, who was sick for many years and told no one.
Yeah. His agent. That was like the only person that knew.
His age, obviously, is it his wife or his girlfriend?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure family knew.
Family knew, sure, obviously.
Kevin Feige didn't know. Nobody in Marvel, Ryan Coogler didn't know.
No one knew.
Yeah.
Right. And like, so on one side, like to respect Chadwick Boseman, I hope that they don't even address it. It's like you said, T'Challa has died and here's what's happening.
Right.
But on the other side, like in terms of storyline, I almost hope we get like a glimpse of, some sort of explanation of what happened. Maybe they deal with that throughout the movie of like, I don't know, flashbacks or this, that, the other. But like, I don't think they can do like, so-and-so killed him in battle. I don't think they can do that.
Exactly.
Because it doesn't make sense.
I don't think we need an explanation for it. Just, we all know. We all know know the reason why T'Challa isn't here.
Correct.
So let's not make up a fictitious reason
to
explain it.
Maybe they deal with it in real world. Like T'Challa had this illness.
I don't even think you need to do that. Just say that he's dead. And that's how the movie opens, is with his funeral procession. We're all there. We all understand the circumstances of why we're here.
So now it's like, how do we...
Let's deal with that. Let's absorb that. Let's honor that. And let's now, how do we move forward?
Right.
And like the music of that trailer
so good.
Is phenomenal.
Yeah,
and
it
it's
really
like,
is.
We move on together. Like, don't worry. We're going to move forward.
Yep.
Like, amazing.
Like, this isn't the end. Like, this person is gone.
Yep.
This isn't the end. And I think that's such a good message that Marvel has dealt with through the death of these, really tentpole characters.
Right.
Of like, sure, Cap is gone. Tony's gone. These Black Widow's gone. These characters are gone. And we're still moving forward here.
The main theme of that trailer of everything's going to be all right.
Right.
And it's not just like, hey, like this bad things happen, everything's going to be all right. But it's also like together, we're going to come together and move forward.
We're going to figure this out.
And everything's going to be all right.
Right.
Like it seems devastating right now, but everything's going to be all right. And like what an important like message.
Culturally.
Just culturally and generally.
Yeah. It's all going to be okay.
Everything's going to be all right.
We're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we move out of phase 4. But I think...
Wait. Namor. Can't wait. Like, been waiting for Namor.
Yep.
Cannot wait to see what they're doing. Again, culturally with that.
Sure.
And this kind of like Mayan type culture that they're going to be creating around his character.
Yep.
Who is the first mutant?
Yep.
Mutant. In Marvel lore, and we're getting that now.
Yeah.
We're bringing mutants in. Like,
well,
everything about this movie looks so friggin' epic.
So, do we have Fantastic Four in Phase 4 too?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I think they start Phase 5.
Okay.
No. This is Phase 5. They start Phase 6.
Okay. Because I remember seeing something like, this was a while ago, that they were trying to push Captain Marvel 2. And then Fantastic Four within Phase 4 and like ending it with that. But it ends with Wakanda forever. And then we move into Phase 5.
Yeah.
With beginning with a character that like, I like the character, but, and I know how central Ant-Man is. It's Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
Yep.
And how central like all that is, the Hank Pym, like all that kind of stuff is to how we've gotten here. But I haven't enjoyed those movies as much as like I think they're movies that you could skip. To me.
Okay.
Like I saw Ant-Man and the Wasp, but like saw it on a plane and was like, okay. I don't think I needed it necessarily.
I don't think you needed it for the Infinity Saga.
Correct.
But I think
maybe
you do need
it
for this saga.
Okay.
Because they introduced the quantum realm.
Right.
This movie being Quantum Mania, they're going to be. It sounds like they're going to be spending a substantial amount of time in that realm.
Right.
And that's where they're going to come into contact with the big bad, it seems like, of this multiverse saga,
right,
which is Kang.
Yeah, which is interesting because like you think of how they've introduced this multiverse aspect with the some of the Infinity Saga towards the end of like, the quantum realm, and there are things that we don't understand, things beyond our understanding, and now they're really expanding that out.
Right.
For sure.
Right. Yeah, like Kang, to be introduced to a version of Kang in the Loki series. I've seen like a bootleg kind of like somebody's cell phone coverage of what they showed at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And Kang, the version of Kang that we're getting in Quantum Mania is a different Kang.
Interesting.
And he's very cocky and knows the power that he holds.
Are they doing the kind of they teased Thanos for a while, and then like the version of Thanos you got in the teaser trailers or like the end credit scenes was not fully the version you got? Is that the kind of thing? Or are they like rewriting the character a little bit?
No, I don't think it's rewriting. It's just understanding the nature of the character.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Kang is a character who is aware of the multiverse versions of himself.
Oh,
and they're all interconnected.
I
Like
see.
they've gone back and like made connections with each other.
So they're all aware that each other exists.
Right.
Interesting.
And so the one that we saw in Loki, who was the He Who Remains,
right,
was kind of overseeing the timeline and trying to keep things in order. So he was almost like the good Kang.
Sure.
And he even warned Loki and Sylvia in that series of like, you don't want to see the other versions of me.
Right.
I think we're going to see the other versions.
Interesting.
In Ant-Man.
So speaking of Loki,
yeah.
I mean, there are a couple other things. There's Guardians Volume 3.
Yeah, which I've heard is like, when you finally get to see that trailer, it's also a very emotional trailer.
Interesting.
As well.
Yeah. Which I think it should be.
Yeah.
After everything that we've learned has kind of happened. We got Secret Invasion. We've got Echo coming out as well.
Yep.
But then we got Loki Season 2.
Yep.
What I'm interested also in terms of like what Marvel is doing is they're incorporating more of the Disney Plus series into the formal timeline.
Right.
And we've had discussions of this, like it is entirely possible that you've seen nothing on Disney Plus and that it all works regardless.
Right.
And maybe they're still doing that, but they've rolled it out as like, no, these are part of the next phase and you kind of have to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like if you went into Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness,
right,
would you have been totally thrown by not seeing WandaVision?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think it enriches it, but I don't think it would have been thrown.
Enriches it, substantially.
Yeah.
But would you have been completely like thrown off? I don't think so.
No.
I think it's that sort of a concept of
Right.
like they're using Disney Plus to enhance and add flavor, but it's not a complete requirement.
It seemed initially when they were ending phase 3 and they were beginning phase 4, they were talking about like, yeah, and we have these Disney Plus series that explain a little bit more.
Right.
Whereas this announcement was like, no, this is absolutely part of it.
Totally. And it may be like absolutely Disney saying, hey, if you enjoy this universe,
you need to go
buy Disney Plus.
Exactly.
To get all of it for it all to make sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're wrong because like, you go into a movie, like you skip one or two Marvel movies, you go into a movie and you're like, wait, what? Huh? Who's that guy?
Right.
So sure, it absolutely enriches. I mean, you can figure it out, but it absolutely enriches it. Where this, I feel like they're saying like, no, if you miss that, you're going to be a bit confused, maybe a bit lost.
Yeah. I bet Secret Invasion is going to be one of those series.
Talk to me about that.
Like Secret Invasion is, from what I understand about it, like at San Diego Comic-Con, it was introduced with Colby Smulders, who is a character. Anyway, it was introduced and it explained that there are already Skrulls all over the place.
Right.
And they start that trailer with Nick Fury coming in after like it's very clear that he hasn't been on Earth in years.
Correct.
So I think that, knowing that the last Avengers
Jealous of
movie that's coming, totally, knowing that the last Avengers movie that's going to end this saga is Secret Wars,
right?
I think we're going to be introduced to a lot of the themes and a lot of the
underlying nature.
Well, yeah, kind of like the rules of the game for this series of the MCU,
right?
Understanding that like, no, that could be a scroll. That maybe that's not the character that you think it is.
Yeah.
And just kind of introduced to like, here are the rules that we're playing by.
Right. Interesting.
So I think that one's going to be a pretty critical series to see, to understand that concept.
So then I think what Marvel has been playing with for the last couple of movies in phase 4, I'm going to call it like mature Marvel.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like if you watched the Netflix series where you had Daredevil, you had Luke Cage, you had Jessica Jones, like these are like brutal Marvel things.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking like almost not quite to like The Boys or Invincible level.
Right.
But these are like
pretty
mature, intense Marvel movies.
Yeah.
And we start this with Blade.
Right.
And
well, you assume.
We assume. Right.
I can't imagine.
They could reel it back a little bit.
I couldn't imagine that this Blade will even be as bloody and gory as the 90s version that we got, or 2000s.
Early 2000s. Here's where I start to like, now I have some opinions. Mm-hmm. Like I'm bought in. Like I'm super stoked for Loki. Like I don't even know how to kind of address Loki because I don't know what you're going to do. I'm in. But now that
I think the majority of that was done. It was supposed to all have been one big season.
Series. Yeah. Like you've got the Marvels, like that's coming out, sure. But like Blade and Daredevil and even Agatha, who is the kind of the bad in WandaVision, like these characters are dark. And definitely Blade and Daredevil, which to be fair, I'm most excited for Daredevil because I love Charlie Cox and I love that series.
Right.
Like these are bloody and brutal and they're a lot to deal with.
Right.
And I'm interested in how they're going to, again, deal with it. Like you've got a Wesley Snipes series. Like, are you just going to erase all that? Which is absolutely possible. But like
it's not erasing anymore. You don't have to erase anything. That was just a multiverse.
Right.
That
sure.
was just another version.
But like these are brutal, like deep, violent things. I mean, you're not going to erase, quote, air quotes, erase the Charlie Cox Netflix Daredevil because it's so good.
Well, yeah, no, and that's like the beauty of that next series that's coming out, like the subtitle,
sure,
Rebirth,
right? Like
fantastic.
Yeah, but okay,
which is a comic run, and you know who wrote that comic run?
Who are they? Frank Miller.
Frank Miller.
Yeah,
that's a Frank Miller story.
Interesting. So it's dark. That's what I'm.
It'll
that's
be
what
dark.
I'm, that's what I'm
sure.
saying. So like. You can't throw...
I think it'll be a continuation.
You can't
I don't
throw
think that
at
they're going to
tame
undo
Daredevil.
all that stuff.
You can't throw at me Tame Daredevil. You can't throw at me like... I mean, there's a scene in Daredevil. I think it might be the end of the first season. Maybe second season. I don't know for sure. But like, he's fighting this ninja dude and gets cut to ribbons.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
I don't think they will.
You don't think they'll do it?
No, I don't think they'll back off.
I hope they
Because
don't.
you know what just came out this week on Disney Plus?
I do.
Yeah, Daredevil,
but
Deadpool,
yeah,
and Logan.
Deadpool 2.
Got rated R content on there as Marvel content.
Correct.
So I think they're just setting it up as like, nope.
So that's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm interested in. I mean,
we're going to keep this level.
They released Luke Cage. They released Daredevil. They released Jessica Jones, all on Disney Plus, and said,
did they put Punisher on there?
Yeah, they put Punisher on there.
Like, I mean, if they got Punisher on there, dude, I don't think they care.
So, and they had that thing of like, this is not suitable for children. If you don't want your children watching this, change your settings. Like they did that.
Right.
And I was like, I don't care. Click.
Yeah, I'm not a kid.
I don't care.
Bring it.
But like, in that case,
I want to see Punisher stab a dude 20 times.
Yeah, for sure.
Ugh.
But I mean, I do. Because that's that character.
That's the character.
Yeah, that's the character. Like, I need to see that.
Yeah.
Like I'm not advocating for hyper violence, but you know, I mean, come on.
I'm not like, taking notes.
Right. But like my point is now, not that they didn't address it before, but it was like, it was Marvel, but Marvel on the fringes. Now with Blade and Daredevil, it is absolutely canon. Like there is no denying it.
It absolutely is. But I think I think they can get away with more, or they'll be willing to do more
Right.
on Disney Plus.
Sure.
Whereas like a
Super good
major
point. Super good point.
theatrical release like Blade is going to be with Mahershala Ali,
Yeah.
I think they'll probably
Tame it a little.
tame it up a little bit.
I mean, to be fair, Marvel has gotten more violent since Iron Man. In terms of like what they're willing to show.
Sure.
I'm not saying, it's by any means the boys violent, but
Right.
they've gotten a little more loose.
Right. But you'll never get that in the MCU.
Right.
Ever.
Right. With
I'm
good
okay
reason.
with that.
Yeah, I'm totally good
I
with
don't need
too.
that. Like I can go and watch The Boys and
Exactly.
appreciate The Boys. And I think we should do an episode on The Boys because I find it really interesting.
I agree. I wrote it down.
But yeah, no, we'll never get that. And I don't need it.
And you don't need it.
We got close with Logan.
Right.
Logan really went
I haven't seen it yet.
violent. I don't know if we'll ever get that to the point of like we're going to see that with any major MCU character.
Right. So, all right, to round out Phase 5,
Yeah.
they have both,
Captain America, New World Order.
which Kevin Feige promised that Sam Wilson, here's how he said it. Sam Wilson will be in it. He didn't necessarily say Sam Wilson will be Captain America. But
I haven't seen specifically what was said about that film.
I just watched like the presentation of like thing by thing by thing. And he just like did little quips.
Right, but I didn't see if anybody came out for that or
Right.
if there was any kind of additional footage or anything.
Right.
I'm not concerned at that at all.
No.
I 1,000% think it'll be
I support it.
Sam Wilson.
Yep, 100%.
I think there'll be like the introduction of the new Falcon.
Correct.
Like I think there'll be a lot of like follow up. I bet Winter Soldier's in that.
Yep.
Like I have no doubt in all that. I think
Yep.
Bucky will be in that. Not worried about that at all.
No, and I think it's going to be good. I mean, again, you've taken kind of like the central character and you're starting to evolve that central character. You're starting to morph that central character and make that character more in-depth and make that character, I don't want to say better, but more nuanced. And
Well,
I'm so interested in that.
Give it more. Give that character, that version, and understand that like Captain America goes through phases
Right.
of giving Sam Wilson's version of the character more provenance
Absolutely.
and prominence.
Yeah, for sure. And then we end, is that Thundercats?
Thunderbolts.
We end with Thunderbolts in this phase.
Yeah.
In terms of like the release of the phases, and this might be a product of COVID, but the last phase, it was all jacked up. So when they released Phase 4, they did so many shifting of things around. So like, who knows, is this actually going to be the end of Phase 4? It is right now, but they're going to end with Thunderbolts. What do you know about Thunderbolts?
Just what we all know about Thunderbolts. Which
Not
is,
a damn thing.
Which is that Julia Louis-Dreyfus
Yeah.
has been going around and like selectively plucking people to join her group.
Yeah, which we saw in the Disney Plus series.
And we saw it at the end of Black Widow.
Very true.
So we've already seen her selecting people, which is kind of an interesting thing too, because I wonder how they'll deal with that. Of the Thunderbolts is named after Thunderbolt Ross,
Right.
who
And
is
they're-
unfortunately the actor just passed away not that long ago.
Right.
And so like the fact that movie's not coming out for quite a long time, but it, I think we're still living in a world where like all of this content is stuff that was in the works
Correct.
during the pandemic.
Yes.
So to know what was filmed and what they already had kind of arranged and things like that, like I'm sure they could just obviously like cover that in a unfortunately
Sure.
General Thunderbolt Ross has passed away,
And they could-
in his honor, we're going to
Exactly.
name this group
Exactly.
the Thunderbolts.
Exactly. And then they could do like here's who this character was. They could figure out how to do that. Yeah,
for sure. But from my understanding, it is kind of a Suicide Squad-esque
Gotcha.
type
Gotcha.
group of Marvel characters.
Gotcha.
Who are almost like the B list of the Avengers.
Right.
It's like everybody's got like a similar take on the Avengers, but you're not
an Avenger.
not really
You're
Steve a
superhero,
Rogers.
but
You're not Captain America. You're
sure. Okay, let me ask this. I mean, with the Phase 5, we're adding 3, 6, 9. We're adding 12 more IP.
It looks like 6 and 6.
Yeah.
6 movies and 6 series.
So we're adding 12 new things.
Yep.
Is it starting to be too much?
I think that's kind of like a little bit of the beauty of what they're doing.
Yep.
It kind of depends on yourself.
Right.
If you want to take it all in, you absolutely can.
Sure.
If you don't want to, there are going to be things that you absolutely need to see for it to all kind of cohesively make sense.
Right.
And they know at this point in time, there's enough people out there that will make it worth it.
We're going to keep doing it.
That'll make it profitable.
Yep.
But it's totally within just your interest in the thing. Like, I'll be totally honest. At this point in time, I haven't seen Miss Marvel.
Right.
I haven't watched that series
Me
yet.
neither.
I want to.
Yep.
I haven't heard necessarily great things about it, but I know that, like, understanding that story will improve my viewing of the Marvels.
Correct.
So I want to eventually at some point see that. I haven't yet,
Yeah.
but I've got some time to work that into my schedule.
I think about at what point do they jump the shark? Like, at what point does it just become too much? And or does that point even exist anymore? Because you've got people, us included, who want to continue to consume this media. Or at some point does it become like, no, like you've made 37 Fast and Furious. Okay, we're done here.
I think they're in a point right now to me where it's like all of Phase 4 seems like it was the reaction to Infinity War.
Right. Oh, good point.
All of these stories are in reaction to that. So it's like, if you were able to consume that and understand it, now you're ready to move forward.
Right.
And like, I feel like the next two phases, if you've got a good handling, and even if it's not even really that great of a handling,
Sure.
but you just kind of understand that, like, there was this version of the Avengers, and that happened, and even honestly, like, even if you don't even really understand, like, what happened to Iron Man, what happened, even if you just understand, like, there was a battle and they won, and here's a new starting point. And
You're good to go.
And we're going from here.
So it's almost generational in that case too.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
And it's whether or not you just feel like you want to be a part of that.
So that's kind of, I guess, where I am. Like, I'm interested. Like, I want to believe, and it just becomes like, how engaged will I be as this all unfolds?
Right. Like, I love seeing the layout.
Yeah.
If I'm 1,000% honest, like, Phase 5, I'm not as hyped about personally.
Okay.
I'm way more excited for Phase 6.
Right.
But as the nerd that I am, I know that I need to take in, or at least that I want to take in, all of Phase 5 that I can to be better prepared to enjoy Phase 6.
Well, and officially, they haven't released everything in Phase 6.
Very little.
Right. They've said, like, these things are on the horizon. These things are a possibility.
They gave us a date for Fantastic Four.
Right.
And they gave us dates for the next Avengers movies.
Correct.
And titles.
Correct.
But there are a plethora of dates
Yes.
that they also gave us with no titles.
Nothing to it. Like, this is on the horizon.
Could be some X-Men.
Sure.
Who knows?
Sure.
Who knows what's in those dates?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, we've said this before. You get some great movies and you get some, like, Thor Dark World, which makes a lot of sense. Just not a great movie at a time.
Not even that it makes sense, but the relevance
Correct.
that movie had for Endgame
Exactly.
was, it had more relevance than any other movie before it.
But you didn't know that at the time.
Right.
And that's, to me, like, that's also what's interesting about these different phases is, like, you could go through, I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 could be a stinker. I don't think it's going to be, but it could. And then you're like, maybe it ties into the last two Avengers movies that we're going to get in Phase 6, and it ties into that, and, like, that was a pivotal turning point, but we don't know that.
And that's, to me, like, that's kind of the brilliance of what they've created here.
Agreed.
Is that, all right, so say you didn't see Thor: The Dark World,
Right?
But as you were watching Endgame, there were some moments that you were like, huh?
What's going on?
And so you went back and you watched Thor: The Dark World.
Exactly.
And then you enjoyed that movie better because you're watching it in relation to your
On the other
experience with
side.
Endgame.
Exactly.
And it's now providing you with information to better enjoy that movie.
Exactly.
And so, like, the same thing could absolutely happen here of, like, you know what? I didn't watch the series Echo.
Right.
Because I had no clue what that was about. But now that I've gotten to this point in Phase 6 and I see how important
I'm interested
Daredevil
in that character.
is,
Exactly.
to understand that Echo is connected to that character that I love now,
Yep.
I want to go back and I want to watch that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
which is what comic books have been doing for generations.
yeah, 70 plus years. No, almost 100 years at this point.
Yeah.
Like legit.
Of like, man, I really like this character and this run. I want to go back and read the run where this character was created.
Correct.
You know, like that's what they've been doing the whole time. They're just applying that now to movies.
Good point. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, you got anything else?
No,
No.
I don't.
I don't either. You know what does have a lot of other things, though?
What's that?
Our Patreon page.
Man, dude.
I know. How was that for a segue? Did you like that?
I like that.
Thank
Smooth.
you. Thank you.
Real smooth.
I worked on it for about the last half hour.
Smooth as a fresh jar of Skippy. That's another reference going back to Bruno Mars.
Yeah. No, I got it. So there's a lot of cool things happening on our Patreon.
Yeah, for sure.
There's some questions and responses between the two of us
Yeah, not sure what we're calling that yet, but it's going to be a series that we do.
in its infancy stages.
Yeah.
There's some
Literally
fresh
infancy.
Yeah. There's some fresh crack Fridays going on, like fresh bottles we're opening.
Brilliant.
I know. There's bottles that we'll never feature on the podcast just because, we've got a lot of things to talk about
Sure.
that we'll feature on Patreon.
Or something that we haven't talked about in a long time and we want to go back and revisit.
Absolutely. So if you're not part of Patreon, what are you doing?
Yeah, you really need to get on there because that's where the cool stuff is.
Yeah, for sure. There's a couple levels. Just go check it out. It's patreon.com/TrepandStone. See what fits best for you, but there's a lot of cool stuff up there.
Absolutely. Join our community. We're gonna welcome you with open arms.
So all of that to say, we want to know what you think about Phase 5 of Marvel.
Yeah. What are you most excited about in Phase 5? Are you like me and you're kind of looking past Phase 5 and looking forward to Phase 6?
Or are you like me and you're like, man, I need that next Daredevil series because I'm super interested in it.
Totally.
Yeah, let us know. We also want to know, what do you think about the Riverset Rum finished in rye cask? Man, this stuff, I think it's pretty great.
I'm super impressed by it.
Yeah, me too. So let us know what you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're somebody that enjoys whiskey, bourbon, and rye, and you're looking to expand your horizons, dude,
absolutely,
this checks every box.
Yeah, well, you can get in touch with us through email. It's drepandstone@gmail.com. You can also get in touch with us through social media.
It's always one word, Drep and Stone, DREP and Stone. Come find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you like to hang out.
YouTube.
We
got some stuff up there.
Yeah, come find us, like us, share a thing, like a thing.
Yeah.
Comment on a thing.
And we'd love it if you support the podcast. Again, that's through our Patreon page. That's patreon.com/DrepandStone. You can also support the podcast by rating Drep and Stone wherever it is you find great podcasts like this one. And finally, Kyle,
sir,
you can support the podcast by yelling at someone.
Right. Respectively.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying just, get in their face and just, nah.
Yeah.
No.
Hey!
Yeah. No.
Yeah, don't do that. But
if you're a good distance from them.
Sure. Back up.
Yeah.
Take a few steps back.
Hey, you heard about Drep and Stone?
Yes, sir.
Good. Me too.
Oh, cool.
Which episode's your favorite?
Probably the one that they did on James Bond.
Weird. That's my favorite too. You want to go get a drink?
You know it.
Yeah. Just like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how that's done. Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
May your glass overflow.
And your ass never show. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers. You did the top of the bottle?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's very, very seductive.
Maybe.
So I got on my Hawaiian shirt.
I can see that. It's very.
I'm like,
it's very pretty.
I'm going all out on summer.
I can see
this.
that.
It's like the end of summer. It's like full force summer. This is like the equivalent of the Christmas sweater.
Beautiful green customs tape on it.
Sweet.
Which I was like,
oh.
That's called Florida.
That's a Disney Channel joke.
Yeah.
For you.
You've made that before. I might have cut that out before, and I might have cut it out again. Who knows?
I thought that.
What? How much
I thought that Remy Martin. You think that's going to come through?
I don't know.
I'm cultured.